Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Speaking of members, we've got a new member who's joined as a penguin and then immediately upgraded to a hyena. So big shout out to Wandering Eyes 11, my latest channel member. Also do a few shout outs to some other random hyenas. So big shout out to Truth in Your Face, Elijah Freeman, Ali B, Rakia Life, and Del West Watson. There are lots and lots of hyenas, but just to shout out a few random ones. Big shout out for joining me as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Now we are joined by a few people in Discord together with 10th Man and Righteous Force in G+. So welcome one and all.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. We're going to try and rattle our way through housekeeping because I've got a whole bunch of clips that I want to get through. I'll explain a little bit more after we've done housekeeping. So any signs of a physical Earth curve edge?
Not from Cedar City.
Any signs of axial rotation?
Of the Earth-based variety, none.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Well, they have two types, and both of them are wrong.
Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
We're still waiting.
David Reed in the chat.
Not yet,
says
still
no.
waiting.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Ryan.
That's it. I haven't seen any. I've been asking. Nobody knows.
No, the pseudoscience communities aren't coming at Trump's in this regards for certain. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
It's over there.
Big shout out to
In the
Arwin.
sky.
Big shout out to Arwin on Flat Earth Early Bird. Done in excess of 500 shows now. Probably on 510 or something. Yeah, ARWIJN. Flat Earth Early Bird starts an hour before this show. Subscribe today. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
None whatsoever when it comes under rules of evidence, but they make nice pictures for books.
Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius? Good morning, Arwin. She's got a plug from us.
Hello.
Well, he just joined. Here's our R value right here.
Here's our R value.
There's evidence of R win, just not an R value.
You're valuable.
No, I am
Come on.
valuable.
Yes, you are.
The horizon is not physical.
Horizon.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
I'd like to see them try.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nope.
No pictures, paintings, no evidence. No real lead, actually.
Cool. That concludes the housekeeping. So,
That was quick.
since QE's been doing his show, on his own channel. So Ballbusters moved, I don't know how many months ago, quite a while back, to the Quantum Race channel, and he got a whole bunch of new equipment and started to send me clips. And typically, because for whatever reason, whatever file format, I couldn't play them on my iPad, so I typically only play them when the show's running. So I'm going to run down the list of all the clips he sent me. He may or may, I've told him this, so he may or may not join, we'll see. But hopefully we'll get to hear from him live as opposed to just the recorded clips, but we'll get to those shortly. Once we've had a bit of foreplay, bit of chat about the weekend, see how everyone is. Anything exciting to discuss?
Hell yeah.
Go on, Owen, go ahead.
That's just lots of things. But yeah, I talk about it on the Early Bird Show. Flat Earth Early Bird Show, 2 p.m. Amsterdam time every day on Arwin channel, ARWIGN. So if you want to know the subjects, then you have to watch my video. Just kidding. No. Yeah, there's lots of developments, lots of videos. Did you see Red Pill's Philosophies video? Recent
I
one,
did.
for
So
starters.
Red Pill's latest video was a juxtaposition between music and dance from the key workers, I believe mostly in the States, and news reports saying how overcrowded the hospitals were. Very amusing.
Yes, it was amazing. And also, I'm surprised that there are so many of these dance videos out there. It's not just one. No, there's like a handful of them. Weird. But that was
Yeah.
funny.
Well, you know, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
Right.
Hey, Chocolate, good to have you.
Go Choco.
Good morning.
Anything to
Everybody.
report over the weekend? Anything exciting happen?
Nope. Not anything. Nothing to report. No curvature found. No spin found. None of that. Everything's still flat and stationary and beautiful.
Excellent.
Right.
Any more for any more? Or should we get on with some clips?
Mm.
I have a point.
Moose, you're more than welcome. Go ahead.
I've been watching. This weekend. I've been looking at clips on sort of a. There's this Chinese guy who did videos from 2016 or 15, debunking Einstein's theory of general relativity. I think. Any of you guys aware of that?
What that is theory, which is definitely in no way scientific, needs debunking, because in that respect there isn't really a requirement. If you're talking specifically about this dude in his video, then you'll have to give us a bit more info. I don't know who you're talking about, sorry.
No. He wasn't. It wasn't scientifically. It was mathematically, and also from a logical standpoint. He was looking at logical consistency. So I think he wasn't. I mean, it wasn't scientific experiment based. It was based on the the sort of the theory itself, its consistency within itself, and also its even if the consistency of its mathematical expression, if I may describe it that way. No, it's a guy called Run Z Cow or something like that. Run Z Cow or something like that.
Runzy cow.
And
Okay.
yeah, maybe I should try and post this at some point. But there's a I mean quite some debate on that, and I mean there seems to be debate on people debunking or a lot of people discussing on previous attempts or previous or people sort of debating and debunking Einstein, or finding finding flaws either mathematically or in the
Or in the... Oh, we've lost him. He's lost his connection. So yeah, just hopefully he comes back shortly. Oh no, here we go. Way back, Moose Tone.
yeah, sorry.
Okay.
No, as I said, there seems to have been quite some debate on based on the comments that I saw on this video about people questioning Einstein and things such as simultaneity and other aspects of his of the fact that the how do you call that, bending the time dilation and constancy of the speed of light and things like that. So I don't know if any of you are aware of this or similar debates.
Sure. I mean, obviously we've had similar debates on the show, so yeah.
Well, we question Einstein all the
Okay.
time, and we have the right to, because he's making an assessment that time, a concept, a convention, causes something.
Well, even the mainstream questions Einstein. There was an article not long ago that basically stated, oh, the whole Einsteinian theory of gravity will have to be replaced sooner or later. So obviously it's not that
Okay.
good if they're already planning on replacing it.
Well, I think chocolate, it's, what's the word? Karma. They use karma to say this. So Einstein came and
Hold on,
kicked
just 1 second, Tenth.
Newton on.
Hold on, just 1 second. Moose Tone, can you pop yourself on mute, because all we can hear is you breathing. Thank you.
All learn how to breathe.
He's just got a lapel mic or something, don't worry.
You don't need a mic for that.
Yeah, and also,
Well,
can you...
obviously he's not wearing a mask.
Oh, you took my joke.
Well, as I was saying, Einstein conveniently kicked Newton under the bus. Now someone's going to kick Einstein under the bus.
Well, not someone. Quantum mechanics. Scientifically valid, unlike Einstein's quote-unquote theory, which it isn't. There's no scientific validity to his theory. It's not a theory. So, it's under the banner of science. It's actually pseudoscience. It's even got it in the title of the mathematical reification that is bending space-time. So, pseudo-Riemannian force space, length, breadth, depth, and time. Well, time, concept. Space-time, concept. Bending it, not possible. Can't bend concepts. So it's riddled, but that's because it has no science to back it, unlike quantum mechanics, which is essentially made Einstein's nonsense completely redundant.
What about the speed of light being a constant? Because a lot of it seems based on that. Do you know if that has any validity?
No.
Just turn off your flashlight. They'll stop.
Oh, you missed out a statement.
Why does
Speed of...
it
Hold
is
on.
not constant?
Hold on. Speed of light what?
Is it a constant?
There's a little bit extra
No.
you're missing, though, isn't there? Off that statement.
Hmm. Well, in every, regardless of the reference frame, right?
Yeah, what's the medium that they're claiming that's constant light speed in?
Ah, yeah, the vacuum.
Oh, the vacuum! Something nature abhors. Oh, yes. So, what? In the vacuum that we don't have? Light has a constant speed?
Ah, you ruined everything.
I know, I do that. I'm sorry.
You ruin our dreams, Nathan.
You just suck all the air, the oxygen out of this room, Nathan, with that statement.
Okay. No, but I mean, how did they come up with this? With the fact that it was impossible to increase or decrease the speed of light.
What, they just made it up.
It's a bit of a hand wave, no?
Yeah, Einstein just made it up.
Wasn't it Maxwell?
Maxwell? Still made up. There's no science to back
Sorry,
any of
it
this.
sounds.
There's no science. This hasn't any scientific validity. None.
So you're saying there's no observation. There's no. I mean, not even a valid observation of that.
An observation, an observation of phenomena followed by a validated hypothesis. Might even go on to form theory after that. But without any of those things, they don't have any scientific validity for any of these assertions. Debunking
No,
the
but you don't
mathematics
need.
and debunking the mathematics and logic. Well, that's all well and good, but maths is abstract. So debunking an abstraction, well, that's not our reality. I mean, well done for debunking the abstraction. So what? You know, what I'd need for it to be valid scientifically would be a naturally observed phenomena, an established cause of the effect, and then there might be other experiments that went along with it to give you a theory. But before you've got any of that, you don't have any of that, and that's the state of affairs with all of their claimed science. Hence, pseudoscience.
Mm, okay. Well, I guess I have to study that a bit better because, yeah, I haven't found I haven't found this thing about I mean, who sort of observed that the speed of light is 300,000 kilometers an hour. I, um, I,
In a
I guess I
vacuum.
still have to study that a bit better.
I wonder which vacuum you did that in.
They've observed
Well,
light traveling in a slow motion.
Again, sorry, I didn't catch that.
I said they've observed the speed of light in a high.
You've got push to talk, and you're losing the last word, probably the most critical one. One more time.
Can you hear?
We can hear you, but you're using push to talk, and you've just got to wait a second after you finish talking and then let go.
Put some bass in your voice.
Okay, moving on.
Well, isn't this the same as them making up on no Atmo day? You can see the geometric horizon.
I think we made that up. I don't think there's actually a no Atmo day. That's brilliant. That's brilliant, John. Thank you. long
Can you hear me all right
protracted
now?
silences followed by interrupting me. They're not going to make you a friend. I promise you that. John. We're getting long protracted silences. Now we're getting feedback from you.
Can you hear me okay now?
You're really quiet, John. And we're still getting feedback from you.
Hello, can you hear me all right now? Hello, hello.
We can, but we're getting feedback from you. Fifth or sixth attempt.
Well, I'll try again later.
Yeah, you need to turn your speakers down or whatever. Anyway.
wow.
He said they observed the speed of light using a high-speed camera.
Oh, I see. In the vacuum. Well, isn't this a jolly good flowing conversation? Just what audiences hope for.
Yeah, look, I'm sorry. I was just hoping someone could let me know where I could learn a bit more about that, but I guess I'll try to find by myself.
Aye, sure. You've reached the end of the road, unfortunately. That's why the housekeeping question is any scientific evidence of gravity yet to be qualified with a decent answer, or scientific evidence, more importantly. There isn't any. So, in that respect, if you're looking for how they've come to their conclusions, and we're like, they've made them up, they've just conjured this shit out of the air, that is the way it is. There is no scientific validity to any of it.
Well, but you could still have an observation that is correct. You don't need the scientific method to measure the speed.
Okay. Do you want to talk me through that?
You don't need the scientific method to measure the.
Okay. Tell me how you do it.
Well, you measure the distance, and then there you have the speed, right?
what exactly are you measuring?
How do I measure it?
Yeah, what's the thing that you're actually measuring?
The speed of light.
Yeah, I get that. And what precisely are you putting your yardstick against?
I don't know. I guess.
Well,
Hold on.
Look, I'm sorry, I'm not knowledgeable enough. I have to confess ignorance.
Sure.
But to me, to me, it's a what is question, not a why, not a how. I mean, it's a what is question, right?
On the assumption that it has a speed, that it takes a path, that it has a journey, a point A
Okay,
and a
I
point B with marked points in between. That would be the assumption.
Okay, I get it. I see what you mean.
I mean, I'm not going to pretend I know everything about light either. Far from it. I'm very, very ignorant of the subject, but so are the scientists. While they have done lots of experiments and proven or disproven lots of hypotheses, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's any person out there that knows everything about light. Far from it. It's a massive mystery. It doesn't change that there is scientific validity that has been offered along the path of journey that is the discovery when it comes to light. And that path will continue. But one thing that my vague understanding tells me is that it doesn't seem to even have a path, right? It has a starting point, and you can see the interaction at the end point, but the in-between, not so much.
That's crazy. I mean, I'm flabbergasted in a way. By the way, I mean, how can people be stating with so much certitude that they know the speed of this thing? Then it's just I'm amazed by that.
Because they were told by a man named Einstein with no scientific validity, and it made its way into mainstream rhetoric. Quite useful if you have a if you have a sun worshipping religion.
Nathan, could it be that it's not the light that's the issue, but they used it to make up the vacuum?
Maybe. It's part of the rhetoric. That's why I say what vacuum. It's all tied into the same nonsense, right? Space.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I have to study the subject.
Sure.
Because I mean, I'm sorry to say, I don't want to offend anyone, but sometimes it seems a bit like a hand wave the way you treat it here. But
We're not
I
making
guess,
a positive claim, though.
That,
Sorry, when you say a hand wave, what claim are we making? We're saying, is there any scientific evidence for this claim of gravity? In this instance, we're talking specifically about Einsteinian pseudo-Riemannian force space. Pseudo.
Like what?
Pseudo.
Like gravity lensing?
Sorry, middle of a sentence, my friend. The mathematical geometry is called, try once more, pseudo. I'll try again without interruption. Let's see if someone interrupts me again. Pop yourself on mute, Moose Tone.
Yeah.
Pseudo-Riemannian force space. Pseudo. Meaning not actual, not real, pretend, fake, sham. That's what pseudo means. That's what the mathematics of this geometry is. Because it's based on conceptual space-time. So, having told you this, and you say, well, maybe I need to go away and study. Study what? The science of pseudo? The science of fake, sham? There's no need. This is the end of the road. There's no scientific validity to this. At all. Now, if you want to go out and find some, well, so do we. That's why we ask daily for scientific evidence of it.
What kind of evidence you need?
Are you deaf?
Yes, I'm kind of deaf. I don't know what you're talking about.
Try again. Scientific evidence. That's what
like
kind.
those you make, you give. What scientific evidence? What kind of evidence you want?
Scientific evidence, that's what type. That's a type of evidence, a very specific type of evidence, defined rigorously. What do you want me to define that type of evidence? Do you not know what scientific evidence is? If you don't, that's fine, but don't ask me what type of evidence 4 more times when I've told you what type. Scientific, specifically.
I don't know what scientific it means.
Okay.
Really?
Example?
A validated hypothesis based on a naturally observed phenomena. So that would be...
There is.
I'm not going to do very well if you start talking after about 5 words. So, you observe a natural phenomenon.
There is.
Yeah, that's again the second time I've tried to explain this answer to you. It's not going to be a very good discussion if I'm telling you something you don't know and you keep interrupting me. I'll try a third time, then I'll give up. So the start of the process, step 1 would be to observe a phenomena. Something occurring in nature. Not something man-made, because we'd know the cause of that, man making it. So a naturally occurring phenomena, and you look at it and go, I wonder what caused that. Then you formulate a hypothesis. That would be your supposition. What you think causes the effect. If A, my presumed cause, then B, the effect I'm trying to figure out the cause of. Then you perform an experiment. You vary and manipulate that which you think causes the effect, and if it causes the effect, you validate it as the cause. That would be scientific evidence of a causal relationship. That's what we're asking for. Scientific evidence.
Okay. Here's one. During equinox, 3 people on the equator looking at the sun. One looking at its set. It's setting at west 90 degrees. 270 degrees to the north. Another one seeing it rises 90 degrees east, and one in between them is looking straight up in the sun. Now explain to me how this works on flat Earth.
Sorry,
What
is
does
this
it have to do with gravity?
Nothing, but I'll just deal with this quickly, Arwin. Sorry, is this position that you're describing, the sun's position, is that an actual position? Or is it an apparent position? Or do you not know?
It's what they see. Do you have explanation for this?
Is it an actual location? Or is it a not actual location, also known as apparent position? Does the sun have an actual position or an apparent position?
Yes, I heard you, Nathan. I said that's what they see. It's what they see. You make what you want to make them see it on flat Earth.
Sorry,
They
mate,
see it.
you haven't answered my question. It's A or B. I'll try again a third time. A. That would be selection number 1. A physical, actual location. Or selection number 2. B. A not actual location. It's one or the other, not a rendition of your question.
Not actual location.
Oh, so you're asking me why a not actual location does something? Well, it's not its actual location. Who cares? Your question's ludicrous. Why does the not actual position of the sun do something? Well, it's a not actual position, mate. Who cares?
Well, the one who's looking up is looking at the actual location. The
No,
two
it's
others
a not actual...
looking
Shut up.
Slightly,
No.
slightly.
No. It's not an actual location. It's an apparent. That would be not actual location. So don't just change the nonsense to make your question make sense. No, mate. It's not an actual location. So your question is completely ludicrous.
No, it's not.
Oh, really?
Tell me.
So
You're
your
going-
question,
yes, you're
your
going on
question
a-
being, why does the not actual position of the sun do something? That's your question. Why does the not actual position of the sun move to this not actual location?
I'm trying to explain it to you.
Who cares? It's not an actual location. You're not acknowledging what I've stated.
Explain it to you.
Explain what? The not actual position and where it is. It's not an actual position.
Yes.
You haven't acknowledged
Yes.
what I've said. I've had to drag you around,
Yes.
ask you the question. Now you're interrupting. I've dragged you around with 3 renditions of the same question. You've then conceded it's not an actual location. So who cares what this not actual location does?
Well, if you let me talk, I'll explain. When you drive your car and the road signs say 50 kilometers to the town, to the place you
Sticks
go.
in the ground.
Is
We get it.
50
Sticks in the ground,
kilometers?
the angles.
Hey,
it's very nice.
let me
It's still
talk.
not an actual location, though. And you seem to kind of
Let me
bypass that and
finish.
not
I
reply.
heard you not
You haven't
actual
addressed
location.
what
I
we've
heard
said.
it.
We've debunked your
It's
question.
almost actual location.
Almost actual.
Close to
Right,
actual
shut
location.
up. Almost actual, you double-speaking fundy zealot. No, not almost actual, not kind of actual, not you can think of it as actual, apparent. Now, shut up. Do you hear me? I'm tired of this nonsense. You're asking me about a not actual location, something's not actual position, and what that not actual position does. Now, I'm tired of it.
Nathan, how tall are you?
Shut up.
How tall? Simple question.
Look, you are asking me about a not actual location. Now you're asking me about some personal nonsense about myself. Right,
No, you just throw a number.
your question about what this not actual position in the sky does is entirely irrelevant. Now, all I need you to do is have some humility and accept that it's not an almost actual position, which is your rebuttal thus far. That in fact you're just asking a nonsense question that doesn't need any address from me about a not actual point in the sky. And what it does is it moves to its not actual location. It's irrelevant because it's not actual, not physical, not a position we can go and test and measure. Meaningless nonsense. Your question is irrelevant. But you are refusing to accept that your point's been demolished. Your question doesn't even require an answer
nothing been
because it's
demolished.
nonsensical. You're just going to talk through me repeating for about the 4th time that your question
you don't
is
let me speak.
irrelevant. And now you're asking me how tall I am and talking through me. Like every fundy asshole that comes here. When it's pointed out that your stupid question is irrelevant and the flaw in your stupid question gets pointed out to you, you don't like it. So you want to talk through me. You want to tell me that you're almost there with your nonsense repetition of the same point that's been debunked about this not actual location. Not once have you acknowledged that you've been smashed, your pointless question's been debunked, that it's been deemed irrelevant. You're not going to acknowledge that, but you will interrupt me while I point that out. Good, he's cottoned on that we don't need to hear from him. Yeah, sit back down, sunshine. Your question about what things do on a flat earth reification model with your false dichotomy and your nonsense about what a point in the sky that isn't physical does can wait for another person that's not me.
Yeah, what we talk about then?
Ouch.
Not about
You
your
can try my
stupid son.
chat. I got somebody
Sorry,
just like
hold
you
on,
in my
Arwin.
chat
Let me
today.
just berate this dick. Sorry, do you think that suddenly you produce the show now you need to ask where we're going next after your nonsense? No, I think you should just shut up. Don't question me about which direction the show will be taking. Not a direction about what a flat earth reification you hold up in false dichotomy does with a not actual location. That's for damn sure. That's what we won't be doing. That was what you brought to this table, my friend. Nonsense. So we don't need to hear much more from you, my friend. You need to go and figure out that your question's nonsense. Or maybe put it to an ignorant flat earther that's got a model that they reify so you can burn it. We have some clips. Hey, Brian. Yay, Brian's here.
He's on mute.
He is on mute. We'll get a hello for Brian, then we'll go on to some clips. Raise the
Did he
fun
say
level a bit.
almost?
Yeah, it is apparently the apparent position of the sun is almost actual. It's quite fascinating.
I almost hit the lotto.
Yeah, no concession, just a nonsense
Yes.
assertion
What
of
they're
almost
looking at is almost actual.
There's no such thing, mate. That's a contradiction in terms. Can't be almost actual. That's a contradiction in terms. Look up violation of the law of non-contradiction.
Hold on. What's this you're showing on your screen now?
Sorry, I just made a declaration about your stupidity. I said go and look up a violation.
What is on your
Excuse
screen?
me, I'm
What you
talking.
show on
I
your screen?
appreciate this is troubling because you've just made another stupid statement. So look up the violation of the law of non-contradiction. You can't both be A and not A at the same time. In this instance, actual and not actual. You can't be both. Thank you. Second, maybe
Nathan.
third time saying maybe keep your mouth shut.
Nathan, what is
Not
showing
talk
on your
to
screen
me.
now?
I don't want to hear from your stupid mouth again. Yeah, you've just violated the law of non-contradiction, mate. You're not acknowledging your stupidity. You're not saying, oh, I'm sorry,
I'm
my bad.
stupid.
It's almost
I said I'm
actually stupid, isn't
What's
it?
on your screen?
Why do you think you're producing the show and changing the direction? I'll say it for a fourth time, then I'm going to shut you up and kick you out. Because you're not acknowledging your stupid statement that violates the law of non-contradiction. You're asking me what's on screen.
Yes. What's on your screen?
Bye-bye, asshole. Look,
trying
dickhead,
to-
just because you can't tolerate being shown to be stupid doesn't mean that you get to ask me where the show goes next and what's on my screen. I'll point out just how stupid you are over and over again while you try this little subterfuge, move the conversation onto something different. No! You fundies don't like being told off when you've been stupid. Now that's my job. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy pointing out just how stupid people like this idiot Chili is. You're stupid, mate. Your last statement violated the law of non-contradiction. Not what's on my screen. You are an idiot. Okay? Don't talk through me. Don't ask me what's on screen. Accept that you violated the law of non-contradiction with your almost actual location. Okay, moron? Just shut these dicks up. Fifth time. Ask me what's on screen with your total idiocy. Hopefully we'll get Brian back. In the meantime, anything anybody wants to add to that nonsense?
Yeah. Apparently, the sun is non-actual. Actually, the sun is apparent.
Beautiful doublespeak. A ministry place is waiting for you.
It's-
Let's try Brian.
Nathan.
Hooray! Good to have you. Any news over your weekend?
No, nothing really to report.
Right, hopefully we'll... it's 22 the hour, so hopefully we'll get QE. He'll hopefully jump on when he hears his own voice. So should we work our way through some clips? Any objections? Anything else anyone wants to talk about? Oh, I've got the rumpus in.
Oh, by the way, I said it wrong. It should be the position of the sun, not just the sun.
Yeah, you'll enjoy some of these rumpus. You're the star of them.
Yeah, you were claiming earlier, I caught you saying you didn't know what the speed of light was. I mean, we know this very definitely, so quite why you don't know just demonstrates you're ignorant of the body of human knowledge, I'm afraid.
Speed of light in a vacuum? Which vacuum?
Any vacuum you choose to make a measurement in.
And this is something that happens in nature, is it?
There are vacuums in nature.
Nature abhors a vacuum.
If there's something to go into it, but if there's nothing next to it, it'll remain a vacuum. We even have little vacuums in the leaves of plants. They generate little vacuums. That's how transpiration works.
Ah, capillary action. And the speed of light is measured
it's not capillary action.
Speed of light's measured in these plants, is it?
No, I don't
So which
suppose
vacuum
people
are we talking
They live in
about then?
vacuum
So,
chambers, Nathan.
so we're
They
not
live
talking
in
about
vacuum
plants.
chambers.
Okay, let's just brush past that. So which vacuum are we talking about then?
Any vacuum you care to talk about?
One that we've made or one that occurs naturally in nature?
They're both the same.
And which one are we talking about in nature?
There is a vacuum in space, of course.
There is no vacuum of space. If the sky was a vacuum, then the gas we breathe would expand in all directions and fill the available volume in which it has to fill. This is the entropy law. It's also known as the second law of thermodynamics.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, the entropy law is known as the second law of thermodynamics. We've demonstrated it here. We had Chocolate present a little clip where a guy demonstrates it.
Demonstrates what? Second law of thermodynamics?
Yeah, entropy. An entropy
Yeah, we know
increase.
well, you don't know what entropy. You don't know the difference between.
Sorry, that's time for him to disappear. I'm not going to tolerate your ad homs here. You can fuck off. I don't understand. I do understand. I understand that you are a wanker, and that's why you've been removed. Telling me that I don't understand entropy when you've declared that the second law of thermodynamics does not apply to the Earth, we have a quote of that, makes it really plain to my audience that you don't understand the second law of thermodynamics because you think it doesn't apply to the Earth, this natural law. So, by demonstration, you don't understand. A bit like Kosho doesn't understand the difference between actual spin direction and apparent deviation. When it comes to things being apparent, you morons don't have the slightest clue. And when it comes to laws of nature that are violated in a sphere Earth model, you guys will openly and boldly declare that a law of nature doesn't apply to the Earth. It's because you're all retards with the religion of a globe Earth. So telling us that the second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply to the Earth just makes you a moron that doesn't understand this. Ad homing me that I don't understand will get you removed. So sod off.
Right. Hey, by the way, Nathan, even if you would entertain that concept presuppositionally, you know, like second law of thermodynamics does not apply here and there. Well, how about that supposed myth of when you decompress, you know, the decompression chamber, suddenly you blow off into space and everything is dragged with that air rushing out. So wait, it does apply there, right? According to science fiction lore. So why now doesn't it apply? It just, there's no consistency here.
Well, because their model violates the second law of thermodynamics. It has gas without any containment not filling an available volume, which is in direct violation of the second law of thermodynamics. So because his sky vacuum model of a sphere Earth violates natural law, he will boldly declare that that law doesn't apply to Earth. In translation, the second law of thermodynamics violated in the globe Earth model. That's what he actually means.
Right, because Rumpus says it doesn't apply to the Earth, right? So it does apply to space, but not to the Earth. So in space, gas expands in all directions according to him, but not on the Earth. But it does apply on the Earth. We actually demonstrated that. You remember with the gas, with the colored gas in the vacuum bottle and all that. So it kind of does apply to the Earth. I don't see how it could be demonstrated that it doesn't apply to the Earth with an actual physical demonstration.
Ah, it only applies to isolated systems. So in the same way as we have gas law, and the gas law is described with an ideal gas to simplify the law and explain it to the masses. In the same way, the second law of thermodynamics is described with an isolated system. There are no isolated systems. None occur in nature. But it doesn't change the fact that this is a law of nature. The fact that Rumpus believes that because it's being described to those more educated than him using isolated systems, that suddenly means it doesn't apply to an open or closed system. even though it's been demonstrated to him on this show. By demonstration in a closed system. Now, the demonstration wasn't done with an isolated system, Rumpus. Just because the guy with the little vials, one with a vacuum and one with bromine, when he opened up the valve and showed an entropy increase, he didn't have an isolated system, but was still describing the second law of thermodynamics, which is a law of nature and does apply to Earth. But you need to deceive your audience that it doesn't apply. So you've got this crap excuse that, like ideal gas law with an ideal gas, what doesn't apply to gases? Because there is no ideal gas law. It's just these dudes in white coats inventing a story about something that doesn't exist, that never applies to anything ever. The second law of thermodynamics only applies to isolated systems that do not exist, according to Rumpus. So when they're educating people up and down in universities all across the plane, what they're actually doing is describing a law that only applies to something that doesn't exist at all, according to Rumpus. Because we all need to be educated on a law of nature that only applies to isolated systems which do not exist. That's why we need to dedicate so much educational effort to telling people about this non-existent law that only applies to a non-existent system. Oh no, my bad, it absolutely applies to a closed system, as we demonstrated here on this show, to the moron Rumpus, who thinks it doesn't apply to Earth because it's being described with an isolated system. No, Rumpus. Clearly your ad hominem was a projection. You don't understand that merely using an isolated system to describe a law of nature doesn't mean that it only applies to that which you have used to describe it. It's still a law of nature, you funny little man. Maybe you need to educate yourself on what the second law of thermodynamics is, and then ask yourself why you'd be educated in something that only applies to something that doesn't exist. Because that would be a waste of everybody's time. We wouldn't educate people on what the second law of thermodynamics was if it only applied to an isolated system when we have none. That would be ludicrous. But you are a fundamentalist religious zealot with a model that violates this natural law. And to get around that little problem, you're telling your audience that it is educated to people with isolated systems, but ultimately only applies to that system which doesn't exist. Because that's useful to know. No, it definitely applies to open and closed systems, Rumpus. You're just a moron.
Where was that law discovered again, Nathan? Where was it discovered? Just
On
wondering.
Earth, in nature.
Okay, just checking.
Brumpus's Earth is based on a model. Our Earth is based on reality. So
Yeah.
they got the same double speak about their geometric horizon as well, right?
Do I need to do the hand wave? We do not see the geometric horizon when we measure how much it obscured the Isle of Man. I mean, we do not see the geometric horizon.
I love it. I snarled.
Would you guys agree that the term flat Earth is redundant, just like parent horizon is redundant, because we don't observe any other form of Earth? It's always flat. It would be like describing an apple as apple-shaped, right?
It is. It also is a bit weird in terms of what it's actually describing when you say flat, because a globe Earth implies a shape, and flat Earth, because it's held up in false dichotomy, like the dude earlier when he asked us about what flat Earth does. Well, that implies something, doesn't it? A shape. But flat's not a shape, it's an aspect.
That's true too, yes. That's true, but like I was saying, would you agree that describing the Earth as flat is redundant? I mean...
Yeah, I would. I'd say, I'd go further, and only because we're in the debate, to say it's obviously and observably flat. But you could also take that or paraphrase that as saying it's redundant to say it's flat. That much is bloody obvious.
Exactly. So I just want to describe myself from now on as just an earther. I'm not a flat earther, because it's a redundant term, just like parent horizon is You know, it's the horizon, and that's all there is. There's only one kind. No need to, you know, put words in front of it.
I like it. I like it a lot. And when you say, I'm just an earther, and someone says, well, my declaration is that my religious belief is that we're on a sphere. It's like, well, I just know I'm on Earth, and you know the flat nature of it's obvious, but that's one aspect of the Earth we're standing upon. Your religious belief, however, is that it's sphere-shaped. Hey, QE?
Exactly right.
Sorry, man. Best I could do.
It's all right. 5 minutes left on the show. I've been trying to get these clips to work, and I haven't managed it. No, they're just not playing. I think they're too old. They've obviously fallen off the Skype list after a certain period.
What's up? What you got?
The clips that you sent me, I've been trying throughout the show to get them to play, and each time you can probably guess because I'm saying, shall I play a clip now? And then nothing happens. So I think after a certain amount of time, they don't save on Skype.
Really?
It certainly seems that way because I haven't been able to play any of them so far. They just come up with an exclamation mark. But there we go. Let's just try this one.
I just put a few in there.
Well, it might be that the recent ones do.
Just a couple days ago. That should be okay. What are you looking for?
Just any of them. I was hoping to play all of them, like just run our way through the clips, but we have actually had a decent conversation without. Here we go. This one works.
20.
Space is extension and time is duration.
Show it to
Space is
us or
measured
shut up. Show it to us.
You
or
can just
shut
measure anything
up.
around you, and it will have
Show it to
aspects
us.
of
I'm gonna
space
mute
and
you,
time.
dumbass.
You put those two
Aspects of
ideas
space and
to us
time.
right
So
now.
I measure something, and you're saying it's got aspects of space and time when I measure something with a ruler. So I measure something with a ruler, and then I've got to what? Reify the concept that has got aspects of space and time in it? Both mathematical constructs that aren't in physical existence? What, I've got to reify those things, have I, Brenda? Because you say so? Because you've got a religious belief that you reify? No, it's a concept, Brenda. That's why you can't show it us. And you're telling us about doing a measurement with a ruler and telling us about the concepts you reify in the form of space and time that are associated with making a measurement with a ruler. Now, there's no space-time involved enough I run a ruler down something. Space and time aren't in existence in physical terms. They're concepts.
Oh, do you agree that length and breadth exist, don't you?
Oh, yeah, Brenda, length and breadth. Sorry, we don't have pseudo... I'm talking.
Those are real?
I'm talking. We don't have pseudo-Ramonian for space, length, breadth, depth, and time. So that would be your Einsteinian mathematic. Last chance. Talk over me again. I'm going to kick you out. That was the Einsteinian edition of time. A concept. So then we end up with bending of length, breadth, depth, and space-time. No, Brenda. It's conceptual, mathematical, invented by Einstein. Not real, not physical, not tangible. A concept.
You can measure a thing's length and breadth, and it persists in
kick her
time.
out.
Therefore, you're measuring its time. That's how
Really?
time is measured,
Okay.
by persistence.
How much time
By
is
its
there?
persistence,
How much
its
time?
duration.
How much time is there in a cubic meter, please, Brenda?
Cubic meter is space, not time.
Sorry, you just told me when I run a ruler down something, time and space are factors I would be considering because you told me to, because you reified those concepts. Now I'm asking you, given that you've told me specifically only 2 minutes ago that when measuring something, I will be factoring in space and time, according to you, you religious fundy zealot, how much time is in a cubic meter?
As much time as it takes you to measure it, because it doesn't blink out of
So how
It
much
doesn't
time
blink
there
out
is
of
in a cubic meter depends on how good you are with a tape measure. You're a fool.
No,
You're a complete retard.
That's not what I said.
That's what you just said. How long it takes you to measure it. So how swift I am with a tape measure is dictatorial to how much space-time there is in a cubic meter. You're insane.
The object you're measuring persists in time, does it not?
Sorry, how much time is there in that cubic meter? Yes or no?
If I measure my table It persists in time.
And how much time is there in the volume of your table?
That's a non sequitur.
No shit! It's a fucking concept, you daft bitch! No fucking shit, it's a non sequitur. It's nonsensical because time's a concept and space-time has been reified by you batshit crazy idiots. So yeah, it's non sequitur. Has the penny finally dropped, you stupid idiot?
Well, she needs to define what time is. She hasn't defined it to say it exists or it persists. She needs to define it.
She hasn't defined what time is. Well, I did though. I did it for her. It's a concept. I think that's the end of that clip, pretty much. Good stuff. Might have time for one more.
I got quite the library now. 16 March 2020.
The horizon's a physical location. The geometric horizon is a physical location that you're not expected to see.
Not expected to see? Really? From the U.S. DoD, Department of Defense, horizon. In general, the apparent or visible junction of the Earth and sky, as seen from any specific position. Also called the apparent, visible, or local horizon. From National Geographic, local horizon, also called the geometrical horizon, is the visible boundary between the Earth and sky. So, according to Kosho, we're not expected to see the visible geometric horizon. You really can't make this stuff up, folks. My word.
What does visible mean? Anybody? If something's visible, what does that mean?
Would it be apparent? Maybe.
No. That's it. You could see it.
Seeable.
Physical, visible. Those were the two words he used. When something's physical and visible, I know what that means. It means I can reach out and touch it. Physically. With my eyes, I see it and I reach out and touch it because it's physical and visible. But if it's physical and visible and you can't see it, that's another violation of the law of non-contradiction. A bit like the dude earlier. Almost an actual location. The apparent position of the sun is almost actual.
He said it was a physical location, but you're not expected to see it.
Not
I
expected,
got a headache thinking about it.
not expected to see it. But yet it's measurable how much it's obscuring things in the distance based on the globe Earth geometry. Yeah, you definitely expect to see it and quantify how much it's physically obscured stuff. You've got geometric measurements to tell us just how physical the sphere-shaped Earth you think we're standing on is. So yeah, we should see it, and the effects of seeing it are qualified mathematically by you fundies. That was until we demolished the R value with this piece of evidence called the Black Swan. Very much alive and kicking, I might add.
Black Swan. Hey, do one more, man. I put it in Ballbusters. Quick one.
Quick one from Ballbusters.
Might go over a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I'm down with it.
Beavis and Butthead, December 2019.
What errors did you make? No, I thought you were flipping brilliant.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought you did a fantastic job.
Well,
your analogy of a fist appearing out of nothing, just that was just sheer poetry. I mean, I'd like to use that someday. I want to quote you on that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's fine.
Bob, you think that her appeal to a fist appearing out of nothing is poetry and fantastic? Oscar Wilde, eat your heart out, eh? Bob, are you snorting LSD-laced shrooms and chasing them with Grandpa's cough medicine again?
But
And this
I
is
just
my
want to make
field, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I think that everything I said is pretty much high school, if not undergraduate level understanding of the current level of science.
So a fist appearing out of nothing is high school and or undergraduate understanding of the current level of science? I think you're overshooting a skosh. This is without a doubt a 5-alarm, full tackle, paddy wagon, horse tranquilizer, straitjacket, rubber room, emergency lobotomy for the both of you.
And you're discussing quantum physics with somebody who doesn't understand that a force has to act on a pencil for it to hit the ground.
How did it know to be food?
What? Wait, what? What did you, wait, huh? What? How does the pencil know to be food? Or were you referring to the force or the ground in this scenario? Because that would make all the difference in the world. I got this one. Let's try this. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop? True or false? You two bozos better hope a mental health professional isn't listening in on this. I know that for a fact.
How did it know to be food?
What on earth? How did it know to be food for you too, Bob? You just went right along with the shroom-induced coma non sequitur, eh? So, we'll put it to you. Which one knew to be food, Bob? The pencil, force, or the ground? These clowns are insane, man.
Well, the easiest way to do that is the second law of thermodynamics. In order for something to go from small things to big things and organize, you have to put energy into it. Food's energy, that's all it is.
So in order for something to go from small things to big things and to organize, you have to put energy into it, eh? Firstly, you seem to be having some issues with singular versus plural. Something is singular, Bob. Something doesn't go from something to small things unless you chop that something up. Secondly, and speaking of chopped up, so we're going to pile up 150 bananas, TP style, douse the lot with gasoline and fire it on up. Because we added energy to small things, as you instructed, Bob. According to you, Bob, we'll get an organized big thing out of that. What do you think we'll get, Bob? I bet it'll be more substantive than the horse shit between your ears. I know that for a fact.
Anyway, Bobby, I appreciate it because you know that my basic orientation to a lot of the people in here, there are people in here with real engineering and scientific degrees, which I don't have, but I do talk a lot. So
They're smarter than I am.
I always check with people that I feel know more than I do to make sure that I'm not screwing up. And I am open to being corrected by other people.
Oh, really? So, Mrs. Observed Phenomena, shoe. Hypothesis, it's a shoe. And measuring the time in a cubic meter depends on how quick on the draw you are with a tape measure is smarter than you, Bob. You see, what we have here, including these two knuckle-draggers, are hordes of delusional, clinical-level, Dunning-Kruger, mindless Wiki-Discover channel parroting, pretender clown Muppets that best-case scenario should be picking up cans along the side of the road, supervised. But they're out here posturing and pontificating on topics that would make actual 5th grade general science graduates blush. Listen, fellas, you two bozos. I'd suggest getting on your knees right now and start praying ceaselessly, giving thanks to the rocks, pond scum, whatever, for the autonomic nervous system. Because if you had to think to breathe, you'd be in big trouble! My word.
And with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned as there will be a slightly shortened after show to follow. It's actually my youngest daughter's birthday today, 1 today. Happy joy. Also, a massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in the live audience for tuning in, hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on the premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!